All right. Final question. I need to do this pretty quickly, so if I don't get all to it, I'll talk about it next week. Is from Shimizu. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I teach college and graduate students. As an INFP, I realize that my talk can be self-absorbed. I make personally compelling big and deep points, but afterwards the class don't know how to respond. So as a teacher, how can I make my talk more student and discussion friendly, so that the students feel more comfortable participating in discussion rather than intimidated by my abstract and hard to understand INFP talk? Oh, and how would an INFJ handle that? Okay. The reason why and you were saying INFJ seems to be easier for them. Yes, the reason why is because INFJs have outward facing feeling, not inward facing feeling. So INFPs have inward facing feeling, which means that predominantly you are, you're self-referencing, whereas INFJs have outward facing feeling, which makes you outward referencing. Neither one of those good when it's neither one of those things when it's exaggerated is good. It's not healthy to be only inward or only outward facing. So I'm not judging either one of those. It's just how the functions work. For an INFP, what you can actually do here is take the main point of what you want to say, and I get that this could be challenging for you, but take the main point that you want to say, and then as you're planning your talks or your teaching sessions, your lectures, take the main point and then think ahead of time 4 or 5 different ways that your audience, which is student audience, can relate to the point that you want to make themselves, and then say who here can relate to, for example, if I was to say my point that I want to make is that you have power over your own emotional well-being. So how you respond to other people is your responsibility. Now, I might say to you, so who here has noticed that when you set boundaries with other people, or when other people set boundaries with you, that you actually felt relieved that you didn't have to take responsibility for their emotions, that you felt relieved that it was a good thing that they told me exactly what they wanted, and even just hold your hand up like this, and then people can come in and say, yeah, I can relate to that. It was so much better. It was so much easier that I could be responsible for my emotions and they could be responsible of theirs. So something like that. So pick 4 or 5 for each of your main points that you want to carry out in that lecture that your students could possibly relate to, and kind of move away from the lecture type, I'm talking at you, and more like, hey, let's start a conversation around, this topic. Who here would like to give me an example of how, them taking responsibility for their own emotions really helped them in their lives? And then you give the floor to other people, and that way it becomes synergistic. And I know that feeling of I'm here to teach, so I'm going to teach you this. But actually, people like understanding something and actually learning it are 2 entirely different things. You know this as a teacher. So them understanding the concepts that you're talking about doesn't actually make them learn the curriculum or the pieces that you're trying to teach them. So if they can be a part of, coming up with things, examples of what you're teaching from their own lives, I think that will just bring that together real nice. But let me know. Let me know, Shimizu, if this resonates, if you need more on this. How does this work for you? All right, that's all the time we have for today. We had amazing questions and we had a lot of them. It's been fantastic working with you today, and I'm hoping to be talking to you again next week. I hope you all have a great week ahead of you. And, if you learned something from today's session that really resonated with you, please share it in the group, because you might be doing a massive favor to anybody else who's just joined, or anybody else who maybe haven't got the realizations that you've already got. Okay, so remember to pay it forward. We're all in this together. I'll see you next week.